Hello and welcome to Bored and Confused, where normally I review shows based on two criteria. Was I bored? Was I confused? But today we are doing Tony nomination predictions. Now I procrastinated this, but we're going to get this in less than 24 hours before the nominations are announced. But I've taken all my playbills, laid them out in front of me. I saw 32 of the 34 Broadway shows. The two I did not see was All In, whatever that was. That's the show where they bring in different celebrities and they read and it's all informal. It's not considered any categories. And the other show I haven't seen is Every Brilliant Thing, the revival of the play starring Daniel Radcliffe. The ticket was just too hard to get and I was okay missing it. So I got 32 shows. There are 5 shows that are not eligible. Well, there's 4 shows that aren't eligible. All In, Jeff Ross, Take a Banana for the Ride. Doesn't fit any of the categories. Beetlejuice, because it was a tour that came in. Rob Lake Magic, because it closed too soon. And I'm including in this Mamma Mia. Now, I know that Mamma Mia is eligible because it's been like 15 years, but this was the touring company that is the exact same production that was on Broadway 15 years ago. It's the same direction, it's the same costumes, the same set. So I just don't, other than the actors, which are basically reproducing, well, they're adding their own thing to it, and I really enjoyed the actors, but I'm not considering Mamma Mia. Sorry, not sorry. All right, so what we will be considering are the 10 play revivals, the only four musical revivals, the 8 new plays, and the 6 new musicals. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's start with Best Play nominations. This is an easy one. Liberation, Little Bear Ridge Road, The Ballisters, Giant. Now, were those my 4 favorite plays? 3 of those were. Giant, well, for me, Giant is on par with Dog Day Afternoon, so why not? For Best Musical, this one's pretty easy too. There's not a lot to choose from. We got Titanic, Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York, Schmigadoon, and The Lost Boys. For Best Revival of a Play, now there are a lot to choose from here, and this is one where I think might be surprised by some things, but I think the 3 shoo-ins are Oedipus, The Death of a Salesman, and August Wilson's Joe Turner's Come and Gone. This one, because I preferred the Bartlett Share production at Lincoln Center a few years back, it's hard for me to include this, but I think it will be included. And then for the other 2, because there'll probably be 5 categories. So the way it works, if there's more than 9 eligible shows, you can have 5. And if there's a tie, you can have up to 6 nominees. So because there's more than 9 in this category, I'm going to pick 2 more. I think it'll be these 2, Becky Shaw and Fallen Angels. It could be Marjorie Prime, but I think it's going to be these 2. But what I want it to be, I want Bug. I really want this to be included as Best Play Revival. Now, I didn't see the original, but gosh, this was really good. And the reason I don't think Fallen Angels is because I just don't think it's a well-written play, but I think it's a great revival. And Becky Shaw, I enjoyed, and I also enjoyed Marjorie Prime. So that's non-committal. Okay, pickings are slim for Best Revival of a Musical. Of course, we're going to have Cats, The Jellicle Ball, and Ragtime. The question is, there's 2 more to choose from, but will they just give all 4? Maybe they will. And if in that case, it would be Chess and Rocky Horror. I would probably choose Chess first and then Rocky Horror. That's just my opinion. If they're going to just do 3, I would do Chess. Maybe they'll just do 2. Okay, for Best Book of a Musical, this one's easy because there's just not a lot of choices. Titanic, Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York, Schmigadoon, and The Lost Boys. Now, honestly, the books for these 2, to me, are uneven. Both of them have a similar problem. Schmigadoon repeats itself, I feel, in the second act, and it kind of dips. And then The Lost Boys, the Act 1 and Act 2, feel like they're 2 different musicals. So for me, it's between these 2. All right, Best Score. Well, for Best Score, Titanic is not an option because it's a jukebox musical, which means we've got these 3. 2 characters carry a stranger across New York, or 2 strangers carry a cake across New York. We've got The Lost Boys, and we've got Schmigadoon. And if we want to have a 4th between Beaches and Queen of Versailles, I would pick Queen of Versailles, just because I think the writing craft is much better than it is in Beaches. For Best Actor in a Play, From the revival of Oedipus, Mark Strong, Nathan Lane from Death of a Salesman, John Lithgow for Giant, and John Bernthal for Dog Day Afternoon. I think these are all easy choices. For a fifth spot, it'll probably go to Daniel Radcliffe. I didn't see his performance, but the buzz is good, and it is Daniel Radcliffe. But because I love Bugs so much, I would choose Namir Smallwood. Or Will Harrison in Punch was also really good. I just think everyone's forgotten about this show, but he was great. For best performance by a leading actress in a play, my choices are Leslie Manville for Oedipus, Carrie Coon for Bug, Susanna Flood for Liberation, Laurie Metcalf for Little Bear Ridge Road, and Jean Smart for Call Me Izzy. People have forgotten about this, but she was great in this. It could also go to Rose Byrne or Kelly O'Hara for Fallen Angels, but my feeling is that they were both equally wonderful, and it's one of those situations where either you nominate two or you nominate neither. That's my feeling. I personally enjoyed Kelly O'Hara more, but I know that Rose Byrne's been getting a lot of love. But I would just leave them both out because although they were great, I just don't love this play. And then also, to add a little diversity, Anika Noni Rose was good in The Ballisters, but I just didn't feel it was a role that really required as much as some of these others, like a battered woman, you know, or a woman going crazy, or a woman discovering terrible secrets about her family, or a woman playing her mother and herself and remembering everybody else. Best performance by a leading actor in a musical. Okay, I've lost all my play-those. This one seems pretty straightforward. Joshua Henry from Ragtime, also Brandon Uranowitz from Ragtime, Sam Tuddy for Two Strangers, Luke Evans for The Rocky Horror Show, and Nicholas Christopher for Chess. And for best performance of a leading actress in a musical, it's so fascinating. Last year, there were way too many to choose from. And this year, I'm not really excited about hardly any of these. But we have Casey Levy playing Mother in Ragtime. We've got Sarah Chase in Schmigadoon. We've got Christiana Pitts in Two Strangers. We've got Leah Michelle in Chess and Marla Mindell in Titanic. Honestly, I'm not super excited. It'll be interesting who wins this one because they were all good, but none of them were giving me a, like, wow, that character was so fascinating kind of performance. Oh, and a spoiler, if they want to give Beaches some love, this is the only place where they can do it, and it would be to give Jessica Vosk a nomination. And I think I would take out Christiane Pitts if I was going to give Beaches a little help. Okay, featured. Best performance by a featured actor in a play. Christopher Abbott, Death of a Salesman, plays Biff. Elliot Levy for Giant, he won the Olivier. Danny Burstein, Marjorie Prime, because you know, it's Danny Burstein. Alden Ehrenreich from Becky Shaw, who won the Drama Critics Circle Award for Best Performer. And Ruben Santiago Hudson for the part of Bynum in Joe Turner's Come and Gone. Best performance of featured actress in a play. The first four are pretty straightforward, I think. Laurie Metcalf for Death of a Salesman, June Squibb for Marjorie Prime, Betsy Adam for Liberation, and Carrie Young for Proof. And for the fifth one, I'm president of the Jessica Hecht fan club, and if she's on Broadway, she deserves a Tony nomination. But it could also go to Cynthia Nixon, because just like Danny Burstein, she is Cynthia Nixon, and you just give her nominations. The other one could go to the mom in Becky Shaw, Linda Emmond. For best performance by a featured actor in a musical, this is a really stacked group of guys. We've got Andre DeShields for Cats the Jellicle Ball, because it's Andre DeShields. Ben Levi Ross for Ragtime for Younger Brother. Ali Louis Bourguignon for The Bad Boy and the Lost Boys. Max Clayton, A True Triple Threat for Schmigadoon. And Constantine Rusuli for Titanic, who is very funny. And guys, dying is easy, comedy is hard. I could also see Benjamin Pajak for Lost Boys being nominated. And I forgot Leighton Williams for the Iceberg Bitch in Titanic. He's great. Best performance by a featured actress in a musical. Again, like the lead category, I'm not as excited by these, but Nichelle Lewis for playing Sarah in Ragtime. Shoshana Bean for playing the mom, Lucy Emerson in The Lost Boys. Temptress Chastity Moore for playing Grisabella in Cats. And Mackenzie Kurtz for playing the slutty one in Schmigadoon, and Anna Gasteyer for playing the prudish one in Schmigadoon. The interesting thing about these, for these two, it just feels like a given. Sometimes I say there are certain roles that are just so great that if the person does a good job, you got to nominate them. And I think that's the case with Grisabella and with Sarah. Come at me in the comments. They did great. But is she better than Audra McDonald? Is she better than Betty Buckley? I don't know. All right, this is a hard one. Best direction of a play. The first three that are just obvious are going to be Joe Mantello for Death of a Salesman, Robert Ick for Oedipus, Whitney White for Liberation, and then I think Debbie Allen will get a nomination for Joe Turner's Come and Gone. Again, the Bartlett Share production I liked better, so it's hard to say, oh, let's award this director for doing a good job. And then for that final spot, what I want is David Cromer for Bug. But it'll probably go to Nicholas Heitner for Giant. And then also these, Scott Ellis could get it, Trip Coleman could get it for Becky Shaw, and Ann Kaufman could get it for Marjorie Prime. Hard to say on that one. That one's up in the air. All right, it's a mess right here. Okay, best direction of a musical. I think there's a lot of deserving people in this category. Michael Arden for The Lost Boys, Lear de Bessonet for Ragtime, Zalia Levinston and Ben Roush for Cats the Jellicle Ball, Tim Jackson for Two Strangers Carry a Cake, and Christopher Gattelli for Schmigadoon. But I would rather have Ty Blue for Titanic, because again, comedy is hard. If you've seen Titanic, the direction to get all the laughs required a lot of talent. So if I were going to trade something out, oh, this is hard, but I want to trade something out for Ty Blue, even though I know he's probably not going to get nominated because people don't get how hard comedy is. I'm going to trade out Chris Gattelli because I think we can give him best choreography. Yeah, I thought Ty Blue did a great job with the direction. Probably won't get nominated. Oh, and if Sam Pinkelson gets nominated, I love Sam, won the Tony for Oh Mary, but I don't know, not for this one. It's too uneven. Okay, let's get into the more technical ones. These aren't as exciting. I'll try to just blow through these. Okay, best orchestrations. Doug Besterman and Mike Morris for Schmigadoon. Ethan Pop and the Rescues for The Lost Boys. Stephen Flaherty and William David Brown for Ragtime. Jim Barn and Kit Buchan for Two Strangers. But maybe Titanic. I don't know who the orchestrator is for Titanic. I can't find it. Someone else find it and tell me in the comments below. All right, best scenic design of a play. This one's tough. This one's really tough. Okay, these are the ones that I think should be nominated. I don't think they're the ones that will be nominated. I would say Dog Day Afternoon, scenic design by David Corrins. Fallen Angels, scenic design by Jeff Mashi. Oedipus, scenic design by Hildegard Bechtler. And this isn't going to get nominated, but I would say Bug. Scenic design by Takeshi Kata. Because you know, sometimes really big, elaborate, gorgeous sets shouldn't always win. Sometimes a grungy hotel room should be nominated. But the ones I left out that it will actually probably go to Arthur Miller, I'm sure this will get nominated. And Giant might get nominated too. You know, August Wilson Turner's Come and Gone could get nominated as well. I also think The Fear of 13 had great scenic design. And Liberation is pretty simple, but it was effective. But who do I really think? I think it'll be Arthur Miller, Joe Turner, Giant, Oedipus, Dog Day Afternoon. Probably those five. We'll find out. That's the one where I don't know. I don't know who they're going to do. Okay, for scenic design of a musical. The four I think it will be is The Lost Boys, Ryan Park, Schmigadoon, Scott Pask, Cats the Jellicle Ball, Rachel Hauck, and it'll probably be Rachel Hauck also for Ragtime. But if we want to spread it out, which I think we should do Two Strangers instead of Rachel getting 2 nominations, and that would be for Sutra Gilmore. For Best Costume Design of a Play, Bridget Reifenstuhl for Oedipus, Queen Jean for Liberation, Jeff Mashi for Fallen Angels, and Paul Tazewell for Joe Turner's Come and Gone. Despite how clean they are nice costume designs, and after they've done the play a few hundred times, they'll start to look nice and worn the way they should. And Liberation may not get it, even though I really think it should, and in its place they might do Death of a Salesman, because you know what often happens is when a show is getting a lot of nominations, they just pile on and say, oh yeah, let's give it these other ones as well. Best costume design of a musical, this is pretty straightforward. Ryan Park for The Lost Boys, Linda Cho for Schmigadoon, Queen Jean for Cats, Tony Leslie James for Ragtime. Now we're getting into best lighting design, and it's like, who remembers the lighting? Lighting, I know, it's just, I think things that emotionally affect you more, like the set design, the actors, the costumes. Lighting is such a hard category to like remember after you've seen a show because you're really not focusing on it. Because what is light? Light is only what it is being reflected off of, which is the costumes, the sets, the actors. So lighting design of a play, this could be so many different things. Let's pick 5. Okay, the 2 obvious ones are going to be Jack Knowles for Death of a Salesman and Lee Kern for Oedipus. Now they'll probably divide out the next 2 to 3, but for my pick, I pick the same person. I pick Heather Gilbert for The Fear of 13, Heather Gilbert for Little Bear Ridge Road, and Heather Gilbert for Bug, because again, it's harder than it seems to interestingly light a little hotel room and really give us the sense of being in that space. But it could also go to Becky Shaw and Giant, Stacey DeRosier, Mark Henderson. Best lighting of a musical will probably go to the top musicals. Adam Honore for Cats the Jellicle Ball, Jen Shriver for The Lost Boys, Adam Honore again for Ragtime, and Donald Holder for Schmigadoon. But I would like to suggest that Two Strangers could also be nominated. That's Jack Knowles. And I also think Chess, because there's not much to the set design, but there's a lot of lighting going on in Chess, and it's very effective. And that's Kevin Adams who did the lighting for Chess. You thought lighting was hard and amorphous? Let's talk about sound design. For me, sound design, did I understand them? Great. Give them an award. Did I not understand them? They're cut. So sound design will not be going to Fallen Angels. For best sound design of a play, I think they will go with the obvious ones, Oedipus and Death of a Salesman. I also think Liberation might be up there. And then for the second 2, I actually think Punch, because Alexandra Faye Braithwaite did both the music and the sound design. And because I don't think she'll get nominated for best score, although she could because the field is pretty open. But I could see her getting a little nod for the sound design, considering she wrote the music as well. Also, my dark horse, my underdog, Bug, give them sound design. Why not? Because I just felt like everything in the show was working together so well. And in case I didn't say their names, Tom Gibbons was Oedipus, Mikhail Sulaiman is Death of a Salesman, Alexandra Faye Braithwaite, Punch, Mikhail Fixel, Liberation, and Josh Schmidt for Bug. Okay, best sound design of a musical is the last one. Adam Fisher, The Lost Boys, Kai Harada, Ragtime, Kai Harada, Cats the Jellicle Ball, Tony Gale, Two Strangers. But honestly, we could throw Schmigadoon in there. We could throw Chess in there. Sound design is such a hard category. All right, thanks for watching my picks, which will come out in less than 24 hours, and then we'll do another video with my reaction to that, and we'll see how many I got right and how many I got wrong. I kind of hedged my bets with a lot of these by giving a few other alternatives. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye. Tony Awards!